You know what hurts the most at the end? It's not the mistakes we made. Most of the time, it's the things we never got around to doing. Time flies. Routine takes over. Responsibilities pile up. And before we know it, the things that once made our hearts beat faster were pushed aside for later. That's exactly what Australian nurse Bronnie Ware discovered after spending years caring for people in their final days. She wrote a powerful book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, where she shared the most heartfelt confessions she heard from her patients. And what's most striking is that the regrets were almost always the same, repeated, universal.
But the real message here isn't to look back in sadness, it's to look ahead with awareness.
Because when we know what weighs the heaviest at the end, we can choose better while there's still time. And if you're already over 60, that doesn't mean it's too late. In fact, this might be the most honest chapter of your life. You still have time to change. You still have time to live in your own way. In today's video, I want to share with you the 5 biggest regrets people have when life is nearing its end. And more importantly, how you can make sure they never become part of your story. So stay with me until the end. I promise, it'll be worth it. And if you enjoy this kind of talk, honest, heartfelt, real, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because sometimes, all it takes to change your life is hearing the right thing at the right time. Let's do this together. Because if you're here right now, it means there's still time. And that alone changes everything. Now, if there's one regret that shows up more than any other, it's the one that comes next. The most common, the quietest, and maybe the most heartbreaking of all. 5. Not living a life true to yourself. This is, without a doubt, one of the most painful regrets a person can carry. Spending years, sometimes an entire lifetime, trying to fit in, to please others, to meet expectations that were never really your own. Many people reach the end of the road realizing they cared too much about what others thought and too little about what they truly felt. They spent decades being the perfect son, the ideal employee, the devoted spouse, all while quietly wondering, where did I go in all of this? But here's the good news. It's never too late to return to who you are. Living your truth doesn't mean doing something radical. It's not about dropping everything and moving to a desert island. It's about reclaiming the small, meaningful pieces of the person you've always been. It might mean picking up an old hobby, learning something new you've always been curious about, taking better care of yourself, saying no more often to what doesn't feel right, and saying a huge yes to yourself. In fact, many people only discover who they truly are after 60, because that's when they finally stop worrying so much about what others might think. And maybe that's one of time's greatest gifts. The freedom to finally become the person you were always meant to be. But the next regret on this list hits even deeper, because it's not about what people didn't do for themselves, but about what they missed out on with those who mattered most. 4. Working too much and living too little. This is the kind of regret many people only recognize when silence takes over the house. When the kids are grown, the obligations are gone, and all that's left is the echo of what's missing. During life, it's easy to fall into the trap of overworking. Working to give your family the best. Working to build security. Working because that's how life is. The problem is, while we chase stability, life happens outside. Family meals get postponed. Birthdays get lost in spreadsheets. The sound of our children's laughter becomes a distant memory. But here's a powerful truth. Money can buy many things, but it can't buy time back. If this is your regret too, that's okay. There's still time to balance the scale. Maybe your greatest wealth from now on is in the simple moments. Making coffee for someone you love, planning a slow lunch, bringing old stories back to life, creating new memories. Maybe it's time to treat your schedule with the same care you once gave your career. To make space for living, not just for working. And once you start doing that, you realize the best returns in life don't show up in a bank account. They live in the heart. Now, if that regret hit home, the next one cuts even deeper. Because this one isn't about time or money, it's all about courage. 3. Not speaking my feelings. So many people reach the end of life with a tight knot in their throat. A knot made of words that were never spoken. Feelings bottled up, truths swallowed, emotions hidden, out of fear, pride, or simply not knowing how to open up. It's amazing how time passes and we keep collecting silences. And I love you that never left our lips. A forgive me that stayed locked away. I missed you that could have changed everything. And the saddest part? Sometimes when the courage finally comes, the person is no longer there to hear it. But it doesn't have to be this way. Even if you've spent your whole life keeping things inside, you can still turn the page. Start small. Call someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Write a letter, even if you're not ready to send it yet. Be gentler with those around you. Look them in the eye. Say what matters. Show what you feel.
Opening up isn't weakness, it's freedom.
It's giving voice to what hurts, what heals, what connects. And if it still feels hard, remember this. A 10-minute conversation can undo 10 years of silence. Because unspoken feelings don't disappear. They just take on different forms. And if we don't speak from the heart, eventually, the body will do it for us.
But if this regret already runs deep, the next one brings a quieter kind of pain, one we often only notice when flipping through memories and realizing how many faces we've lost along the way.
2. Letting friendships fade over time. This regret tends to creep in slowly. But when it hits, it hurts. Because at some point, we realize that some of the best parts of life were hidden in casual conversations, in pointless laughter, in the stories we shared with people who made us feel at home. But then came the job, the kids, the bills, the relocations. And without meaning to, the get-togethers became rare. The messages stayed in drafts. The we should catch up never happened. And before we knew it, that childhood friend, that college buddy, that neighbor who felt like family, they all became just memories. But not all is lost. Even if years have passed, real affection doesn't disappear. It just sleeps.
And sometimes, all it takes to wake it up is a simple, "Hey, I thought of you today." You can send that message right now.
You can invite someone for coffee. You can revive an old group chat. You can be the first one to knock on the door. Because real friendships don't need explanations. They just miss us. And if the reply doesn't come, know that just reaching out is already a beautiful step toward reconnecting with who you were, and still are. Living well also means allowing yourself to reconnect. And maybe, to relive the bonds that once made your world lighter. And if up to now we've talked about people and emotions, the final regret on the list is different. It's quiet, subtle, and many only realize it after spending way too long waiting for a happiness that was always there. 1. Forgetting to be happy along the way. This regret has a bitter taste, because often it doesn't hit all at once. It settles in slowly, like a quiet emptiness that grows inside us. And when life finally begins to slow down, many people realize they lived too stressed, too serious, too worried, and not nearly happy enough. We're taught early on that happiness is something that comes later, after work, after raising kids, after paying the bills, after everything is just right. But there's a problem with later. It might never come. If this is your regret too, there's a simple but powerful solution. Stop waiting for big reasons to feel joy. Happiness lives in the little things. A slow cup of coffee, a sunset watched without rushing, singing along to a favorite song, a genuine compliment, an unexpected laugh. You don't have to change everything overnight, but you can each day make small choices that remind you life is happening right now. You can laugh more, be more grateful, be gentler with yourself, allow yourself to make mistakes, to try again, to dream differently. Because who said happiness needs permission? After all, those who wait for the perfect moment to be happy might spend their entire lives just waiting. And now that you've seen the 5 biggest regrets shared by those nearing the end, the real question is this: which one will you make sure never becomes part of your story? Life is a curious thing. When we're young, we rush. When we're older, we long. And those who are nearing the end often see things that our daily hurry never allowed us to notice. These 5 regrets aren't just sad stories. They're invitations. Invitations for those who are already over 60, or getting close, to pause and reflect. Because knowing what weighs heaviest on the hearts of those who've lived long is a rare gift for those who still have time to choose differently. And yes, you still have time. If any of these regrets stirred something in you, that's good. It means your heart is still open, your soul is still alive, and your story is still yours to rewrite. Life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. It just needs to be honest. And the sooner you give yourself permission to live your way, to love without fear, to speak from the heart, to cherish connections, and to celebrate the little joys, the lighter your what-ifs will feel in the years ahead. Now tell me in the comments, which of these regrets touched you the most? Which one are you determined to leave behind? Share your story. Your words might help someone who's going through the same thing. And if this video made you reflect, feel, or remember someone, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. This is a space for us to grow, to learn, and above all, to live fully at any stage of life. Because in the end, no one can turn back time, but everyone can begin again.